I mean, I can't say we've all been, but personally speaking, I've been there where, you know, you kicking it with somebody and you want more, but in their head, it's just
that smashing.
I guess,
yeah. Like, you are watching Key and Carry, where we key
and we carry.
Believe that. Whoa. So what's up?
I'm Damon.
I'm Troy.
And we're back at it again with another episode. This time we're reviewing the Come Up ATL. We're here to review episode 2. Sorry we weren't here for episode 1, but we thought we might as well just jump right into the current episode. This episode was called Face the Facts.
You have to have a conversation with Quay. You also have to have a conversation with Deion.
I don't have to do nothing but stay black and die.
Let's be clear on that.
And what did you think of this episode? Any general thoughts?
I just thought it was an okay episode. I feel like this episode was kind of Deion heavy, which is okay, but a lot of his scenes was just him talking about his situation with Deion. So I'm like, can we get a little bit of something different? Where's my girl Judith doll? Like, where was
is
Judith
she?
doll?
Yeah, where is she? No, like, no, I agree. Yeah, much of the same. We don't really. I would much rather. I mean, I know like we missed the first episode, but I would much rather get more into like what the like recurring cast members are up to and like what the new cast members are up to. I kind of wish we had saw like at least one or two people blend. We didn't. Oh, I guess we did see one scene with one of the new cast members, but I kind of wish, you know, one of the like recurring characters or one of the returning characters met up with a newer cast member just to kind of see what that was gonna give. But yeah, it was very Deion heavy. You can tell he's on his redemption track from the first season he was on.
Episode 2 opens up with a pretty heavy topic. Deion and Leon, his boyfriend, they had a domestic dispute.
We decide to have a conversation about some things that had went on with us in the past, particularly like, you know, domestic or whatever. So it was a conversation that wasn't had. It was more so treated across. So today we can go outside, talk about it, and kind of like let some emotions out about the situation.
And my first thought was like, damn, because I don't really hear a lot about domestic violence and I don't really know so many people who've been in that type of situation. So I just put in my notes that the scene was kind of hard to take in, but I'm glad that the show is shedding light on the subject because this is something that, you know, people go through. It affects straight couples and same-sex couples. So I like that the show shed light on it. And I also want to applaud Deion for taking the steps necessary to seek the treatment to, you know, better his anger or get the help that he needed for his anger. So it's dope that he took like the right steps to, you know, seek treatment to get help.
I was interested to know when this happened because they never gave a date. But like, I don't know, like when you bring up like, oh, we had a domestic violence issue, I would have like my mind jumped to like, oh, it just happened. But but after like hearing them talk about it, it seemed like they were more so like, oh, this happened in the past, but we're still kind of talking about it now because we're still kind of healing from it. But yeah, I thought it was a good thing to touch on just because I know that that's something that goes unheard in it happens, but we don't really talk about it in the community, in most communities, let alone the gay community, just because I know some people feel like, oh, well, if it's same sex, you're a guy, he's a guy, you know, y'all are on level playing field. But I think when you really think about it, it's a lot. Fighting someone off the street or even fighting like someone that you just kind of know around town is different from fighting somebody that you have an intimate relationship with, I would say. So I feel like it's a different feeling and a different vibe to kind of go through that with somebody that you've been that intimate with and that, you know, I'm assuming you trust and that you love. It's kind of, it's just a harder thing to deal with, which I think is why, you know, people still see it as domestic violence, you know, because your feelings are caught up in that. So I'm glad that they were able to talk about it. and just kind of address it. Darian said something in the scene that I wouldn't say rubbed me the wrong way, but I just think to me it was interesting coming from him, considering like I'm assuming just from the pictures that they showed, he was the one that was abusing, or he was the one that put his hands on Leon, just because they show pictures of Leon, but they didn't show any pictures of Darian. But he said something about, like going back to like the person, like I guess after the situation has happened, like taking them back and like kind of forgiving them and like moving forward, which, I don't fault, if you decide to go back with somebody after something like that, that's your decision. I can't say that would be my option, my choice for, my situation, but I respect it. I do feel like now that I know that he was the aggressor, I do feel like it's kind of weird that he would say, like, oh, like, if you can go back to somebody that did that, try to work through it, considering like, I feel like it's easy for you to say that when you were the aggressor. Like if you were the one that put your hands on somebody, it's easy for you to say, well, if you can go back to that person, try to make it work. And when it's like, well, you weren't the one that, got betrayed. You're not the one that got hands put on them. So it's easy for you to say. So I would have more so wanted to hear Leon's perspective on that. I'm glad Deion is getting counseling. I feel like I'm glad Darian is getting counseling for, the things that he's going through. It definitely sheds light on his issues with, or I guess what happened at the reunion last season with Deion, considering, he put his hands on his boyfriend. I wouldn't be surprised if he put his hands on, someone that he barely knows, So that definitely kind of put things more into perspective. But I'll just ask this now. So is Leon the guy that Darian and Deion were talking about last? Okay, so Leon was Roman. Not to say that has nothing to do with the domestic violence thing, but I'm just trying to get a full grasp of what happened. Leon was
Georgian. He was
talking
chasing Dallas. I mean, you know what? You can redact that. So our next scene, Deion and Mulan, no Mushu, meet up at Mulan's new two-bedroom apartment.
Your ass looks amazing.
Nigga, you gay.
Deion mentioned that. Well, he mentioned how fat Mulan's ass was, how it was just sitting, and then Deion said that he wanted his body done. And my first thought was, he should go visit the girl Quay and go visit Quay's body sculptor. Are you hurting her? She looked so uncomfortable. Like,
maybe she not used to having them hands all over her body.
So Deion, if you ever watch this review, go hit up the girl Quay's body sculpting, and just get that taken care of. But
Shay, but hopefully she ain't as heavy-handed as she was when she was with Kendra. Kendra was.
Yes. I put in my notes, not this 2-year, a whole 2-year-old.
A whole
2-year-old conversation about Deion versus I guess the aftermath of the reunion for the Come Up season 2.
Right.
For some reason, I thought it had only been maybe tops, maybe 6 to 8 months. It's been 2 fucking years.
2 years. And that's crazy.
Just hang that shit up.
That's the problem.
Are you for real?
I'm for real. Go get me a napkin because bitch is running down. Come on. Wear the napkin.
The napkins is behind you, but you better. What the fuck are you crying about?
He's still kind of harping on this. Like, I get, like, you were attacked, you were assaulted, but child, like, you still living, you still have all your bodily functions.
Yeah.
He didn't stab you, he didn't shoot you.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, and you have to take into consideration like where people come from. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know, like I think to me, like, and I'm from what you said, it's almost like, oh, like, he got gripped up. Honestly, you didn't even really get hit that bad from what we could see. Like it was just like a boop boop, and then that was it. Like I don't know. Like
and Milan's words, that shit was an Amazon assembly line. That shit was like boom, boom, boom.
It did. It was queued up. You, granted, you reserve the right to feel some type of way if somebody puts their hands on you. Y'all are all adults at this point, so nobody should really be putting their hands on nobody. Y'all are at the point where it's like, you fight somebody now, it's like, it can really go somewhere. You know, this ain't like high school where you fight somebody and then you get suspended and then you come back to school and then it's over. Like, when adults fight, that's one thing I noticed. When adults fight, that shit has the potential to go somewhere that nobody wants to go. So, yeah, I think we should definitely calm down on the fighting shit. But Deion, and just, you know, general respect for other people. Like, you know, you shouldn't put your hands on people. But Deion, you know what kind of show this is. You know what kind of production company. No shade to Gemini Films or Karan, but I'm sure you've seen Bad Boys Club. I'm sure you've seen the Come Up New York. Shout out to Come Up New York, one of our favorite web series. But you know what the show gives. So I don't understand why you would come on a show like this, knowing that people fight. People have fought in the past. People are fighting on this season. So to me, it's like, I don't understand why you would come on a show, think that you can read everybody, and then be surprised when they pop you. Like, was it wrong? Yes, but whether it was right or wrong, you still got popped. So if you don't want to get popped again, I think you should watch what you say. Not saying that what he did was right, but if you want to avoid getting popped, you got to be considerate of what you say. So, you know, and to me, it's like, it was interesting because when he was talking, I was like, well, he must have never, like, his parents must have never like popped him. And I don't, you know, I'm gonna say, like, I don't think you should hit your kids. Like, I'm evolved, but growing up, you know, that's just kind of the environment I grew up in. But he said that growing up, he did get popped. So I'm like, so you understand that your words, if you have a slick mouth, because I grew up with a slick mouth, you might get popped in it every now and then. Like, I'm not saying it's right, but you got popped in the mouth. What you gonna do? Yeah. Not say what you said in front of your mama again. Like, so it's, you know, to me, it's like, you expecting them to, I don't know, you're expecting them to conform with what you think is right. But everybody has a different view of what's right, you know?
Right. Where Deion's from, you might be able to get into somebody and argue. And then you might meet somebody else who you be used to arguing and they'll just straight up pop you. So, I mean, everybody doesn't operate the same way. So, so far he seems more self-aware this season. It's only 2 episodes in, but he seems more self-aware than he was his debut season.
Dare I say likable? Somewhat. Dare I say it? Likable? Just a tank?
Just a tank.
Like,
just a tank.
Yeah. But, can I go back a little bit? So you touched on how he talked about Mulan's ass. And I'm just like, all of these references to people's asses. He was talking about Mulan's ass. He was talking about Quay's ass and a thong.
I don't want to get in your ass, but I just want to stay at the ass.
Game. Blouses.
All this talk about asses. I just, and your friends' asses at that. I'm like,
right.
Let me find out we got a new DM monster. Like,
like you mentioned earlier, I forgot that Deion had relations with Leon, I guess.
So
prior to the season's premiere.
Do you think this was given like do you think this was given like a Carly Red, Young Jock, and Khadijah T?
I'm just asking you, are you my man or not?
I absolutely am every night.
Are you fucking my man? I absolutely am every single night. Because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, well, I mean, it is. I mean, I think it's wrong, but it is common for like if your boyfriend is cheating on you, it's common to go and try to bop the person that they cheated on you with. So maybe that's what this was given. Like, because clearly, I mean, I'm assuming maybe Leon was with Darian first because they're still together. So like maybe they were together. He went with somebody else and then they, you know, he was like, don't mess with my man. I'm gonna be the one to bring it to you. No. But, and then we see that happens later this season. No spoilers, but we see that
Hot boy.
the site.
Another hot boy.
Well, they don't put their hands on each other. That's one thing about Hot Boys. You won't put that on Hot Boys. They don't. Now they be dipping and doing it and creating all these these webs of
these are pleasantries.
Yes, these webs of pleasantry. Shout out to the L Word where they did the same thing, but they don't fight on that show. That's one good thing about
yes.
But
I put in my notes that Deion, Deion, and Leon is giving the real lovers and friends.
It is giving lovers and friends. And we'll be lovers and friends. Yes, definitely giving that.
Deion and Mulan, they keep talking, and Deion reveals that he's dating a dude named Shane.
Actually, can we rewind just a little bit? So speaking of like the whole like I guess Darian and Deion, like I guess Mulan is trying to get them to talk, but to me it was weird because this whole episode was basically like Mulan and I'm assuming production trying to like, I wouldn't say force because once he said he wasn't ready to speak to him, they dropped it for now. But like, I don't know. I guess when he was talking to Mulan, it was almost like Mulan was making it seem like he had to talk to Deion or Darian. And I'm like, he don't got to do a damn thing. He a grown ass man. If you don't want to talk to him, he don't have to. Like, I feel like, especially since he has nothing to gain from it. Like, okay, y'all gonna be in the same circles. But I don't think that if they were in the same room, Darian would like haul off and just start trying to fight Deion. So to me, it's just like, they don't really have a reason to meet up outside of just like the drama in the show. But like, I don't know. I just feel like Mulan kept saying like, oh, like, well, yeah, you got to do this. And even when they were at the last scene of the episode, like we'll get to it, but he was like, well, I do a lot of things that I don't have to. Well, I do a lot of things that I don't want to do, but I do it because I have to. And I'm like, well, he don't have to talk to this man if he don't want to.
Right.
He don't have to talk to somebody that put their hands on him. Like what? So yeah, I just wanted to make a note of that. Like Deion does not have to associate with this man. Once he put his hands on him, he can. One of the things about being an adult is you get to choose who you are around and who you're not around. So if he doesn't ever want to see Darian again, that's his prerogative. Nobody should be trying to force him to, because I'm sure if you got bopped, you wouldn't want to be around him either.
Deion reveals that he's dating a guy named Shane, and he says I don't know. I guess it's kind of they're kind of in like a rough patch.
Just want to be able to have we broke it off pretty much because I just felt like he called me boring. Like, he called me boring. He said I'm not fun, and he felt like I don't have fun.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Now my initial thought was, who the fuck you dating? Dennis from Lovers and Friends? Hey, said Kevin was boring because he didn't want to go club hopping.
He did say that. Ooh, picky. Anyway.
And then I started cracking up because once he said boring, Mulan completely lost it. And I was like, not you laughing in this man's face. Right. Pouring his heart out to you. So trash. But
this is why men don't express their emotions. We don't know shit about this relationship, but what Deion told us. But honestly, it seemed like y'all weren't a good fit. Honestly, it seemed like y'all had different, y'all were on different vibes. Like y'all, had different, y'all weren't compatible. I used to be that type of person where like I liked kind of like making fun of or picking at people that I was dating or interested in, like as a way of flirting. And I don't know, like as I get older, I kind of like moved away from that just because it's, I don't know. Like, I mean, I still like, you might joke with somebody or shade somebody playfully, but I'm not as into it as I used to be just because I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of childish, I guess. I see it like as childish now. But I mean, if that really hurts your feelings, I feel like you should take that into consideration, whether it's a joke or not. Because I know some people will kind of like neg you or, you know, they'll kind of like poke fun at you and like make critiques about you, but structure it as a joke. So it's almost like, well, I mean, you can't be mad at me because I'm just joking. And it's almost like a way of like getting away with like talking shit about you, but it's like, oh, it's a joke. You can't take a joke. Why can't you take a joke? You're too serious. You're boring, blah, 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 you know? So like, if it really hurt your feelings, I feel like you should have been vocal about that. And if he can't, you know, if he still can't understand that, I feel like that's just not somebody that you should be interested in, because obviously somebody that's interested in you and that, you know, you are interested in should care about your feelings. And if they hurt your feelings, they should be apologetic because they hurt you, you know, even whether it was a joke or not, you know? So
that's that condescending shit. And that's that shit that they get your ass whooped. No, I'm just playing.
Well, not from Deion. You know, Deion.
All you do is run your mouth, and that's why you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Yes. Come on, BGC. But yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like they weren't a match. But you know how some people try to make it work, even though you know they may not be the best match.
Deion was kind of saying how him and Shane kind of have different priorities. Like Deion likes to go out and it kind of be like not secluded, but he's not really a clubber, whereas Shane would like to go out and club. And Mulan made a reference like,
your definition of fun could be just going out to eat, having fun with your friends, versus going to the club, getting drunk, dialing somebody in the morning, talking about fucking.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all. Nothing's wrong with it.
So,
no, I'm saying
what now?
Then the scene just ended there. So I was like, Deion, is that what you and Shane giving? Like, you want us to be a relationship, but it's more so y'all can kind of hooking up. You want a relationship, or
you own it? You own it tonight, nah. Come on, Inspector Gadget. You
just saying, like, it's like, I mean,
you forensics on that shit, because you didn't raise an eyebrow for me, because I'm like, now that I think about it, that does make a lot of sense. And
like,
given.
I mean, I can't say we've all been, but personally speaking, I've been there where, you know, you kicking it with somebody and you want more, but in their head, it's just
a smashing.
I guess, yes.
Like, no shade. I'm not trying to make jokes about his pain, but like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like,
it's
you know,
because
okay, we go out to the club. Because I feel like you would probably go out with somebody that you're just casually hooking up with versus like we're like sitting at home. Like, I feel like that's more of a relationship type thing where, like, you know, y'all are watching movies, y'all chilling, hanging out, you know, like, so yeah, that maybe that is the case. Damn. And at first I just thought Mulan was just making a joke, or just, you know how dudes are, like, oh, he probably just want to hit you up at night when you know. But yeah, that makes sense.
Our next scene, Mr. Motherfucking Anthony. We get to see somebody work. He was beating the face, applying makeup.
Why do you say that?
He beat the fuck out of her face. Not literally beat it, but
that you said we get to see somebody work. I don't know why I feel like work. You said work a little louder than the other words, but okay.
I'm sorry, but you know, I'm just all about working. Like, when it comes to these shows.
Working
but yeah,
girls,
we got to see him work. We got to see him beat the face of his client. She got her a doctor in Atlanta. I said, okay, Miss Girl.
With his own practice, it sounds like he got his own practice. So, hey, shout out to that.
I like this scene, one, because like I said, I'm big on work. And then this scene was relatable, listening to Anthony talk about his relationship with his father.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of gay men have that same relationship problem with their dad.
Me and my dad have had a very surface level relationship for a majority of my life. When I was younger, you know, I came out at 15 years old. He doesn't open up. He doesn't say how he's truly feeling. And he doesn't get the concept of that I need him to be there for me emotionally.
Where, you know, you come out and there's like a lot of tension and it's strained and you want to repair the relationship, but you're kind of waiting for the other party to make like the first move. So I just thought I thought it was cool that we got to see him one work, and then he got to interact with his client like on a more personal level. And I also like the fact that his client was really pushing for him to, you know, mend the relationship,
supportive.
to mend the relationship with his father before it's like too late.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to note is that this episode, there was like a lot of vulnerability like this episode, as far as like Deion and Leon talking about like their past, and then Anthony opening up about his relationship with his dad. Like, I'm here for that. Like,
honestly, even Deion talking about, I guess, this relationship with, you know, a guy that he wants to work, you know, because it's like, I always, like I said, I always try to commend people that are forthcoming with that information, because like on a show like this where everybody's shady, everybody's reading, everybody's looking for something to point out about somebody else that, you know, for a joke or for, you know, a moment, like I'm like, okay, it's cool that you were able to share that, you know, and be vulnerable.
Right.
So
I also put in my notes that his client's reaction to her makeover was like so heartwarming.
I said that too. Yes.
She's just like so just in love. And I was just like, oh, like it's such a good feeling to see people like when they're confident, they feel confident and they look good and they feel good. So like just her reaction to her makeover was just like, I was like, oh, Anthony. But yeah, I like the scene.
And it was a good buildup, especially just after seeing like her being so supportive of him, speaking about his dad. I mean, it kind of turned into a therapy session, no shade. But you know, like her being supportive and encouraging, and then like her being able to see her face and liking it. So it was cool. I like how he has long-term goals established, like how I guess he's working on somebody. He works with someone that one of his clients is someone who works on a Bravo show. And he was just saying how like, oh, he wants to eventually get to the point where he's kind of working with like maybe one or two like bigger people where they kind of can afford to like kind of have me on call, and I just kind of work with them specifically. So I was like, that's a good goal to have. I mean, that would seem easier than working with a bunch of, you know, people that are no shade, but paying less, you know, or not going as often. But yeah, I thought, the whole scene was cool. I said men being hardened seems like a running theme across all cultures. You know, he's obviously Latino, Hispanic, you know, I would say, you know, us as Black men, we experience the same thing from our fathers. I've heard even white men say things like that from their fathers. And I know you said like, you know, as Black gay men, I'm sure that's, you know, definitely true, you know, of that disconnect with our fathers. But I would even say like, from what I've heard, even like some straight men experience that kind of like emotional disconnect from their fathers, just because, you know, men, especially men who have gone through things, have gone through strife, have struggled, kind of have to be hardened because, you know, they're going through so much that they can't. I feel like our emotions are kind of like second to like our survival, if that makes sense. Like we're too busy trying to survive that our emotions take a backseat. But now that we're at a point where we're getting more comfortable and striving, not just surviving, but we're striving for better, I think we're starting to get to a point where like, okay, we do need to take care of our emotions, because that does lead to, you know, a negative outcome.
Right.
So, I hope he's able to have, you know, that conversation with his father, like you said, like, especially being gay men. I know that there's a disconnect just because, you know, I think it kind of like hurts their masculinity, I guess, to like have a son that's gay, or, you know, not only gay, but, you know, also, you know, comfortable in their femininity, and things like that. I mean, I know they are non-binary, so I'll just say children, or I'll just say child instead of son. But yeah, I thought it was a good scene, and I'm glad they were able to kind of talk about, you know, their relationship with their dad, something that so many people can relate to.
Right. Yes. So moving along, our next scene, Quay and
I'm good.
How are you mentally? No.
I kind of got used to seeing the good people go out to restaurants, you know, grab food with they grab solids with their liquids, if you catch my drift. But they go out for drinks and they decide to kind of rehash, I guess, the issue I thought they had squashed at the season 2 reunion. I guess Deion feels like Quay was kind of like straddling the fence because he was laughing, and then he came to, I guess, check on Deion. So Deion was like, "You really can't play the middleman. You either laughing with me or you really care about me." But you mentioned earlier, Deion mentioned Quay was in a thong, and I had to just stop every
in Miami. In Miami, don't forget
in
that.
Miami,
because that sets the tone. That sets the tone.
When the fuck was Quay in a thong? And was he giving Oh Boy from that real life production ad that had his assy on the kitchen counter?
You keep going back
and that song. I'm gonna keep bringing up this goddamn. Anytime I see a fat ass, I'm gonna bring up this damn real life ass. Oh Boy was on the kitchen counter with the assy out.
That ass is gonna haunt us into 2022. Shout out to whoever that was with their ass on that damn counter. Oh, it was glistening.
You know, Martin
shout out to
said
that.
you like swimming out or classy, not showing all the assy.
Listen,
child. But
I want to know if he was in that thong. Since he was in a thong in Miami, I want to know if Oh Boy had something to do with it. I want to know if our good sis Miles had something to do with it.
What it means to me is just understanding life and just really what you're here to do. And what you're here to do, you're already doing it. You're living.
I forgot about Miles.
That's what I want to know. I want to know, that our good sis Miles,
white woman. I forgot all that.
Listen,
Miles.
in that damn robe. I said, okay, look at mother.
Deion keeps referring to Deion as Street Fighter. Now, when I hear Street Fighter, you know I think of Chun-Li. And when I think of Chun-Li, I think of Mariah Lynn's version of Chun-Li after dissing Onika. Just saying.
Damn, so apparently Deion, I thought it was funny that he calls him Street Fighter. I thought that was kind of funny. But I thought, and no shade, Darian, if you watch this, but I might have to start calling him that because Darian and Deion, as you can see, I've already mixed up their names. So I might need to just start calling Darian something else or Deion something else.
Oh, call him by a stage name Pyro.
Pyro. That's what I'm gonna have to do. Pyro, because you know I got to remember too many things already. But, Deion said that I guess he might have been exaggerating, but he said he cut his hair shorter because I guess when Pyro when they fought, he snatched, and I was like, damn, he snatched your hair out that bad? It didn't seem that bad, but.
Giving it Nikki and Valentina T from BGC 10.
Real hair, bitch. I'm still good. I'm good.
I thought it was funny how they showed a flashback. I guess when Deion accused Quay of not defending him during the fight.
Did you not watch the show?
I did.
All right, so after that, did I not say that to him? If you talk shit, you get hit regardless of where you're from.
They showed a flashback, but they didn't show Quay saying anything.
Right.
It was an overlay of him talking in the confessional. So I was like, what evidence is this? Because he didn't say anything. It was literally just footage of him at the reunion. But I don't know if that was an editing mistake or what. Deion was still confused as to why Pyro had attacked him. I guess he was waiting for Tay to attack him over Pyro, but I'm like, shit, maybe Pyro and Rock were working together because you know he had all that shit to say about Rock. So, and Rock did say that he could be touched in these streets. So maybe he manifested that shit. I don't know. Like, but he did warn you. He did warn you. So,
well, I forgot he was obsessed with Rock season 2.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would feel about it. Honestly, me, I would just keep it moving. I wouldn't be, I don't know, stuck on it because Quay is also friends with like Deion. So you already have him in like an awkward situation. I just wouldn't think too much of it. You laughed. I mean, like Quay said, I don't know how Deion thought he was going to come to the reunion after talking all that shit. And not saying that I agree with Pyro snatching him while he was sitting, but how the fuck do you expect to go a whole season talking as much shit as you did and you thought that she was just going to sit on the couch and not get touched? So,
I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I don't want to equate talking about somebody with physical harm, like doing physical harm to somebody, but I mean, he laughed at the shade that you threw, so why can't he laugh at the shots that the person threw? You know, it's like he was laughing. I mean, to be fair, he was laughing when you called him up, and when Quay explained the situation. I mean, I watched last season, but when Quay explained like how it played out, I could kind of see from Pyro's point of view, even though again don't agree with him putting his hands on him. I can understand why, if he was going to put his hands on somebody, that being you, I could see why he did it, because if you're calling, first of all, you called him, and everybody, first of all, you told everybody else before you told him. Second of all, you called him in a group with everybody else. He could hear everybody else. I'm sure people are laughing because, you know, the shade is there. So, you know, I'm sure you can hear people laughing, and you're telling him this. So, of course, he's left to think like, well, this bitch is trying it because they already know, they're laughing about it, and you decided to call them or call me while you're around them to tell me what happened. So it's like, you know, I feel like Deion low-key was trying to like get away with being shady. And then once he felt like he tried it a little too much, he was like, oh wait, but I was just trying to let you know what happened. Why you mad at me? It's like, well, girl, your messengers get hit. Like, you know, it's famously messengers get hit. I mean, so it is what it is. But I put it on my notes.
If I was you, I would have fucked her up after I got fucked up for not doing nothing.
Come the fuck on, Queen of the Ring.
Come on, Queen of the Ring. Okay? Shout out to anybody again who watches Queen of the Ring.
I would have fucked her up after I got fucked up for not
doing nothing. Like, but
I wonder how many quotes are we gonna use from that damn QB and Don Lady battle?
A lot, because that's like my favorite battle. So quotable. That and the Vlad interview they did before the battle.
Iconic.
Yes. Iconic. I thought it was interesting that they opened with Pyro talking about, I guess, his anger issues and how that's kind of bled into his relationship. It led to domestic violence with his boyfriend. You know, I just thought it was interesting because, you know, they're talking about this fight he had with Deion. So I just think that is, you know, of course, I'm glad once again that he's seeking counseling for his, you know, his issues, because like I said, like, you know, fighting, I don't think is the best way to deal with shit. I know people fight anyway, it happens, but I think this is kind of like a reoccurring thing for you. And, you know, no shade. I kind of like Pyro. I mean, I don't dislike anybody on the season so far, but, you know, they always say like that fighting shit, you run into the wrong one. Cause like we say, like, and I don't mean to like get morbid or like wish this on him or anything, but I just feel like how people say, like, you know, you may run into a person that doesn't use words, they use their hands. You may run into somebody that doesn't use their hands, they use something else. And, you know, that is obviously not a way that you want to go. So it escalates, you know, what I was trying to say earlier, like, as you get older, it escalates because people feel like, no, bitch, I'm not 16 anymore. We're not rolling around in the grass, you know? So, you know, I just think, you know, fight with your words, read a bitch, you know, shade a bitch, you know, but don't purchase nobody's LLC. Okay. That's also taking it a little too far. Okay. Listen,
you know, that's the chasing girls.
Hey, it can bleed into this show too. You know, once it starts happening on one show, it starts to, you know, populate other shows. But so Deion said something, and maybe I'm just petty, but you know, I be just making notes about everything that I see. He said something about how he said something that I've heard a couple, I guess, gay men, queer men say.
Had I not joined this group, I don't talk to, I'm like everybody else. I don't talk to a lot of gays. Everybody, we all said the same thing. So the minute we do get together, we have created something that 7 other people won't get a chance to say.
I just put in my notes like, y'all hang around all straight people? Ooh. Like and no shade, I have straight friends. I have friends that are straight. And I nothing against them, nothing against straight people, obviously. My parents are straight, okay? So I have nothing against straight people. But I just can't imagine hanging around nothing but straight people. That just seems so weird to me.
The final scene of episode 2. Deion and Mulan, I guess they were preparing to go meet Deion so that Deion and Deion can discuss what happened at the season 2 reunion.
What? What the hell you got on? I got out of bed and I'm tired. Well, don't look like you going to have no conversation. I am going to have. This should be a peaceful. You look like fucking mess. Why you put this on your head? Listen. What is this outfit? Listen, Linda. Let's go.
At this point, I said they just need to call up Zeus Network and go have the conversation.
Yeah.
This is what it's giving. Give me an old nasty Hazel E. Masika conversation.
You can act like you don't have time, but we know that you do.
The funniest fucking 6 minutes on YouTube.
What am I talking to myself right now?
Yes.
You can act like you don't have time, but we all know that
you do. The funniest 6 minutes on YouTube.
But that's what you were doing in Dubai. That's what you were doing in Dubai.
Yes. I also said they should just call up the girl Natalie Nunn, but she's allegedly selling pussy in Italy, so she can't be reached for comment.
Well, at least it's Italy and not Dubai. At least she upgraded to Italy. Child.
The girls are giving it up in Dubai, but yeah. So I guess they're on their way to go talk to Deion, and off rip, once Mulan gets in the car, he's like, "Bitch, you ain't serious. I can tell by the way you dress.
Yeah,
you don't want to go talk to this boy. Like, you trying to talk somewhere, you want to go fight him." But I guess halfway there, or not even halfway, I don't know the location, but I guess on the drive, Deion kind of starts to panic, so he pulls into a parking lot, mind you, while giving chaotic honor energy. Homeboy, slow your ass down. I do not like when people drive fast through parking lots.
He did whip into that damn park. I was like, whoa.
Hard as hell. Even my mom was like, bitch, slow down before you knock my biscuit over. But,
right.
He pulls into the parking lot, and then he decides, like, I guess it's too much for him. So he didn't want to speak to Pyro that day.
So it's clear that, I mean, I don't know about Pyro, especially from seeing the preview for next week. But Deion is definitely clearly on a redemption path. I think, he did see, unlike some other people from some other shows, he did see how he appeared on last season and is taking the steps to make, to change, the way that he presents himself, which I think is commendable. But yeah, like I said, I don't feel like they needed to talk, but then again, I remembered it's a reality show and they want that scene. So, I can see why they're pushing him to talk to him. I will say, okay, so clearly we talked about Mulan and Deion's relationship. We talked about how, like, they have this kind of like, oh, bitch, you get on my nerves, but, we're friends. So, I don't think this was the best time for Mulan to have that vibe about him. I feel like this was probably one of those times where he should have read the room. Like, clearly Deion is affected by this. And, as, you can say, okay, you being dramatic, you only got snatched up. It's not that serious. You didn't need stitches or you weren't even bruised or whatever. But his experience is his experience.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, part of it was kind of funny because he was kind of giving like he was kind of giving like mad mom energy.
He's just not really ready yet to talk to him about it. And...
Bitch, you wasn't ready when we left the household? I could have been at home.
Well, he's just saying now that we're getting closer to shooting, like that conversation, he just feels like he's just not ready mentally.
Get in this car so we can go home.
Like mad black mom, like get your ass in this car. Didn't I tell you to be prepared? And your ass wasn't prepared. You got us out here all late. Like, you know, he was kind of giving like that energy, but I just kind of felt like that wasn't the time for that, considering if Deion is your friend and he's under distress, I feel like you should not.
Not she in distress. No,
listen.
I'm sorry. I just had to say
distress.
that.
Shout out to Santana. Saucy Santana. But I don't know. I just don't feel like that was the time for you to be given that tough, you know, energy. I feel like this was the time for you to be like, okay, like, I mean, yeah, like, okay, like, you know, you don't have to talk to him today, but like, do you think you're ever going to talk to him? Why don't you want to talk to him? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to hit you? Like, do you know, like, what do you think is going to happen? You know, why is that anxiety building up? And I feel like I wish he would have just kind of talked to him as like a friend,
right?
You know, but I feel like Mulan was so caught up in that whole shtick that they have where it's like, bitch, what you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Even the way he was talking to him, I was like, I mean, I joke with my friends like that, but when I'm going through it, when I'm emotional, the last thing I want to hear is bitch and hoe and bitch, get it. Like, no, don't read the room. If I'm going through it, I need you to talk to me like a friend would, not, you know, some bitch off the street. You talking to me like some bitch on the street. Shout out to Minnie, rest in peace to Minnie.
Yeah, okay, that was Little Women. Okay.
Yes. But yeah, that I noticed that and I was like, ooh, Mulan. Now's not the time for all that.
I wonder if Deion is kind of like on edge because I wonder if he thinks if he meets Pyro face to face, if Pyro's kind of gonna just attack him again and, you know, be like another altercation.
If I was in Deion's shoes, I wouldn't think that he was coming to attack me. Like, I don't think it's an on-site kind of thing, but I do think that if you put your hands on somebody one time, I feel like it has, especially since you haven't seen them in a while.
Right.
I feel like maybe you're kind of harping on what you're going to say. You know, maybe he's not apologetic, especially since Mulan said earlier in the episode, like, you ain't gonna get no apology from him. That's just not gonna happen. So like, maybe he's walking into it thinking like, okay, well, maybe he's not sorry. Maybe he is gonna be on the defense. So if I'm gonna be around this person, maybe I need to figure out a way to kind of de-escalate the situation and like get on common ground. Maybe he feels like maybe when they first start talking, it won't be an issue, but it could get to the point where they get into a fight again and, you know, it happens all over again. Like, there are so many things that he could be thinking about. But yeah, I kind of wish he would have kind of spoke to why he didn't want to speak to him again, or why he didn't want to speak to him at that moment. But I am glad and I respect the fact that Karan was not trying to like push him to, you know, he was like, oh, you don't want to another time? Okay, you know. So I thought that was cool. But side note, I like that book bag that Deion had in the Hercules, the Hades Hercules book bag. I thought that was cute.
Okay. I just thought it was an okay episode. Like I mentioned earlier, I like that the cast is showing like their vulnerable side. They're not afraid to express themselves or, you know, express their emotions, how they're feeling. Like I always say, I like to see Black men in this light because it breaks that stereotype that Black men aren't vulnerable or they can't be emotional or they don't know how to handle their emotions or they can't show their emotions in like a healthy way. Right. So I like that this show is showing that. I love the scene with Anthony and his client. Like we always say, like, comment, subscribe, share.
Yes.
Also, let us know how you feel about this season. Do you have a favorite cast member so far? Or do you wish anybody from season 2 would have returned for the season, excuse me. Yeah.
And we talked about a lot of things. Like, how did you feel about, you know, the scene of talking about domestic violence. You know, for all the queer folks that watch, the gay folks that watch, you know, if you want to talk about, you know, that will be in the comments.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, and just like, I don't know, how do you feel about the whole Deion and Pyro thing? I mean, it's been 2 years, so I do kind of understand this whole, you know, like, okay, girl, it's been 2 years, but I don't know, you just never know what's going through someone's head. So
right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, like, comment, and subscribe, like Trey said, my co-host said. You know, this is a new show for us. Usually that's, you know, a new show is kind of slow to shit.
Is that the spirit of Reese G? Good.
It might be. It might be. But yeah, but the spirit of Reese G. Child with them color contacts. Anyway, no shade. Shout out to Reese G. But yeah, they're usually slow to, new shows are usually slow to get the ball rolling. So, you know, help some brothers out, you know, like, comment, subscribe, share, you know, comment, you know, a little bit goes a long way.
This has been Key and Carry, where we key.
We carry.
I'm Troy.
I'm Damon.
And we will see y'all in the next one. Peace.